Yeah, type the question. Kausha, you can go ahead.
All right, I was explaining that operators. So we have arithmetic operators. So these are examples of arithmetic operators. So we have the addition, we have the subtraction, we have the multiplication, we have the division. But in this case, the output would be like in form of just integer. Let's say you have the decimal part, it won't print out the decimal part. So it would only print out the whole number parts. Then we have the normal division and we have modulus. That is, it will print the remainder of what you already have here. So I already declared num1 to have a value of 22. Like I said earlier on, you can't use keywords to for variable names. You can't have int. You can't have int and int. No, you can't have int and string. You can't have them as variable names. Now you have to be very careful. That is a very case sensitive type of language. That is, if you have capital letter N here, what you are printing must have capital letter. So you can't have small letter here and have capital letter and print capital letter N. It would throw error because it doesn't recognize capital letter as your variable name. So let's move on. We have int num1 to be 22. We have num2 to be 5. I already assigned 5 to be a variable, to be the value of this variable name. So I can call num2 anywhere in this my dat file. That is an advantage of having variable name. Do you guys get? So we have print num1 plus 1, that is 22 plus 5, to be our to have 27. We have num1 minus num2. We have num1 multiplied by num2. We have num1 divided by 2. But this time around, the output would only be whole number. Why? For division, it will print out both the decimal part and the whole number part. Why for modulus, it would only print out the what's it called? It will only print out the remainder. Am I still on the call? Okay, yes. Now let's print out our values here. All right. Please, can you remove me from host?
Alright, I'll try to do that.
All right. So we have num1 plus num2, that is 25 plus 22 plus 5 is 27. So we already printed out our value to be 27. Subtraction, 22 minus 5 is 17. Multiplication is 110. Then 22 divided by 5. Can you see it is printing out just the whole number part of this division? If you use the I don't know what they call um this dancing spaghetti sign, but then it will print out just the whole number part. And if it is just normal forward slash, it will print out both the integer part, the whole number part and the decimal part. Then modulus, it will just print out the remainder, that is 22 divided by 5 is 4 remainder 2. That's why we have 2 as our answer here. So I think we are clear with arithmetic operators, right? I'll take that as a yes because it's quite simple. So let's move on to this. Should be let's move Safari. All right, so let's move on to relational operators. Now, relational operators they are more like the normal greater sign, less than, equal to. They are used to show relation or relationship between a particular value and another value, between two operands. That is, you are comparing one with another one. So sorry, let me relational. So you are comparing one with another one. So we have num1 is greater than num2. We have num1 is less than, this is less than sign. We have greater than or equal to, we have less than or equal to, we have is equal to. Like I said earlier on, there's difference between just one equal sign, that is this one, that is num1 equals to 22. This one we are assigning it that okay, this is this, but this double sign is, it's more like equal to, like it is for two things. It is for comparing that okay, is this equal to this? You get. So there's difference between when you are saying that you are assigning it that okay, this is equal to this, and when you are like more like asking a question that if this is equal to this, that is the two values, are they equal? You are having like two operands, you get. So this is what we have these two equal sign is, and we have not equal to, more like a negation of the opposite of equal to, you get. So if it is not equal to something, that is this exclamation mark for. So I would try and print the value here so I can explain further. All right, so we have num1 to be 22. Is 22 greater than 5? Yes, that is true. So that's why we have true here. If is num1, that is 5 less than num1, is 22 less than 5, which is false. Is num2 greater than or equals to num2, which is false. That is, it is not equal to, is not greater than it is not greater than or equal to num2. Same thing as for less than or equal to. Now let's say I have 22 equals to, let me change this num2 to be equals to 22. You can see that earlier on this equal to is false, that is num1 is not equal to num2, so that's why we have false here. So due to the fact that I've changed num2 to be 22, our new value would be true, because num1 here is equal to the value for num1 is equal to the value for num2 here. So can you see that it's showing true, that is what we have here is equal to what we have here. Then is num1, now the, like I said earlier on, the opposite of equal to is like not equal to. So is num1 not equal to num2, which is true. That is num1 is num1 not equal to false, because num1 is equal to num2, you get. So that's all under relational operators. Then we have the test type. I'll try and see how to just like brush up this test type. All right, we've done arithmetic, we've done relational. So this is test type. So test type is just is or is not. So these are the keywords we use. That is or is. Then the exclamation sign. Anywhere you see exclamation sign, just know that it is opposite of what we mean. More like not equal to. You get. So from the example here, they have string a equals to, they gave it a variable name. They gave it a value, right? Then double b equals to 3.3. They use double because that value here is as decimal part, that's double. Then print a is string. Is a string, which is true. So our output will be true. Is b, print b is not equal to int, and yes, b is not equal to int, so it is true. So is or is not is just used to check something, that oh, is this equal to, like, is it, you are validating. It's more like boolean. Listen, you are validating that okay, a is string or a is not string, you get. So you are checking for something. That's for test type test. So we have for bitwise. Bitwise is the and, the or, bitwise or, the x or b, the bitwise not. I'll send you the link to this tutorial, to this link, so you can always check it out. It is actually like very simple. So you can always check out all the old operators that we have in that. So they are actually simple. We have the conditional operators too, that if this is this, then print out the other one. So conditional operators too. I'm trying to rush this stuff. Then we have standard input and output. Now you can imagine we've been the one printing out values. Now we want to we want to type our own value from our terminal. That's why we have standard input. So it's not just about us just printing. We can also input something to the data, to our machine rather, and it gives us an output you get. So that is the basic explanation of standard input. While for output, we've been doing output since. An example of output is just the print function. So we have print open brackets, then the print statement, or we use standard output. This std means standard output, so std out dot write then statement. So this for if you want to print out something, either you use the print statement or you use the statement. Now let me use this. All right, so in that programming language you can take standard from user through the console via the use of dot read line sync. So this is the function that does it for us for taking input from users. So to take input from the console, you need to import a library named that dash the tool.io. So this is the library that we are going to use. So without this library, we can't make use of this function, right? So to import library, you just write that .io. Like you are done importing, you just write import like this, import, then the library you want to import. So about std in class, this std is standard input, right? So this class allows users to read the from standard input in both synchronous and asynchronous way. The method read line sync is one of the methods used to take input from users. So refer to the blah, 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 blah. So this is an example. First, they imported rather our dat.io file, that is our library. Then inside our void main. So like I said earlier on, this void main is always the entry point of our dat programming language. Then we have print open brackets. Like I said earlier on, because this is in string, you have to use either a double quote or single quote. So we have enter your name. Now, string, they use string here because what we are trying to access, the input the user wants to write is in their string, or the data type we want to input is string. So we have string, then this question mark that is null, name equals to standard input. Like I said, this is the function that does it. This name here is this name is the variable name. So what we are imputing from our console, we are assigning it to this variable name. So we can always call whatever the user inputs with just this variable name. Let me come again. Now, from our console, am I still on the call? Okay, yeah. From our console, you want your user to input something. You know what their inputting would be. Let's say the characters are much, let's say 25, 26, or whatever. So this variable name serves as a box that saves anything that user is writing. So once you have this variable name, you can always call this variable name would save. It's more like a box. It would save whatever the user must have inputted. Then you can always call this box, this variable name that serves as box to save something. Exactly. So you have print hello. This dollar sign is used to call this variable name that is holding what the user has inputted. You get, so that is that under using standard input dot read line. So let's use that example also. So I might just change some things. That okay, no. All right. So we, like I said earlier on, would import. It's if you're importing, it's always from the beginning of your. So we have import that IO. So without this library, we can't work on anything that's relating to standard input or standard output. Then we have, is this where I'm working? All right. All right. So we have the first, let's say we want to collect a value from a user. Let me try and just comment out all this. All right. Moving on. Let's say we have our first statement for users to see that okay, this is what you want. This is what you we want you to do. Let's say enter your your name. So this just displays this string here. So if you print it out, it we will just see enter your name. So it gives the user hint that okay, they want me to enter my name. Then we have string because what's it called? What they are inputting is the data type is string. The name to be equal to, like I said, the standard input. That's std dot read link. All right, so we have this. If you come to our terminal, it will print out enter your name. Can you see enter your name? So I can now write Kausar. Can you see that I'm able to write something in my terminal, then enter? So that's all because we've not like assigned it to do anything with this name here. So let's say this name Kausar, I want it to do something else in another place inside my app. I can now call just this variable name, this name instead of, because I don't know what the user would input, so I can't say Kausar everywhere because I don't know. But with just name, I can like access whatever the user must have inputted. Then let's say I want to have print. I want to use the value of what I already have. Let's say welcome, welcome to this section. Then I use the dollar sign to call. And see that we already have the suggestion here to call the variable name that is name, what we already used here. All right, so I can always just call anything the user actually like inputs earlier on. So let's run it again. So enter your name. I can say Kausar. Then welcome to this section, Kausar. Can you see? So that's just what standard input is all about. You're able to like get users input. So let's say you want to add, you want your users more like calculator, right? You want your users to add um two numbers together. So you can just write an example is print enter the first name. So enter the first number. So you have num1 to be equal to this, then print, then enter. You can just write print enter second. Let me just do it. So we have, I want this to be very explanatory for those that are not on the meeting. So let's say enter your favorite enter your number. then number one, then I want to have command C and say this should be num2, that's this second number. Then let's say I want to add I want to do the addition of those two numbers. So we have addition of two numbers. So I have num1 then plus $sign num2. Enter a number, let's say 2. Enter second number 3 then. Alright, so I want to show us something. Now, the first one that I printed, I'm still on the call. Okay, yes. The first one I printed, addition of the two numbers is I wrote, let me rewrite it, plus. Now I am saying just 2 plus 3. That is the addition of two numbers is num1 plus num2. So it will just show, it won't do the addition for me. That is because I am just using this plus sign as like normal string. So if you want to do this, we can have.
The video is going like can't hear anything.
Hello, hello.
Maybe
Can't
it's
hear anything
disconnected.
now.
Well,
You think?
I think it's having network issue from my end. Just give us a minute. Okay.
I'm back. What's that
Well,
standard
I have a
input
question.
output code?
What did you say? What's the question?
That standard output code. You know we have standard input something something. What about the standard output on?
Okay, okay. So that standard input is to show you, or is to show you if you accept input from the user. So when you want to show output to a user, you just use print. Your print statements print,
And
and
I know there's one for output also. Like the code for output.
I do not get what you're saying.
No, you have
Output.
the standard input dot read line sync something something.
Yes.
There's also one that I use for output, standard output dot something
STR.
something. That's what I'm asking for.
I haven't tried it before, so
Yeah,
I'm not
you
sure.
know,
Let me try it. Okay.
most of us like we rarely use that. Since you have print, why do you want to have to write standard output dot dot? Just use print to make life easy.
Okay. So that's to know.
Standard
Okay,
output is
I
just to
also have a
print out.
question.
All right, what's your question?
Mubarak, please try to reach out to Kausara. Let's know what the issue
Alright,
is.
and
Yes, on it.
All right, so let's.
do,
I'll be taking your
do we
questions.
always have to put the question mark after string?
Okay, so that question mark. So for all of you asking what is the question mark outside a data type, let's say string question mark int question mark. So that is for nullability. So
Yeah.
that's for null safety in the sense that if you have a data type in that, that is a non-aware programming language. So in when you're assigning a variable, when you're creating a variable, you have to assign a value to it. Do you get? Or else you are going to have to put that question mark to tell it that okay, this value can be null at any point in time. What is the meaning of null? Null means empty or without. So if you are doing string name, now if you're doing string name and you try to like call name in some way, it's going to tell you that you cannot call this data type because it is null and it's on the place where you are assigning it. You assigned it when you're creating it, you created it as a non-nullable data type, meaning it has to have a value. So when you do check on the chat section and put it. So when you do string question mark name, that means this particular name is going to be null at any point in time. Do you get? Name will be null at any point in time. That means you can have
Yeah.
name empty. Name can just appear without having a data type. Later in the future, you will assign a data type to it. But if you have something like string, that this happens when we have like starts writing Flutter. So Flutter will ask you that okay, this is supposed to be like this and not like this. You get? So when we have something like name, that means I have to assign a value to it. I have to make it name is equals to what I'm writing it on the chat section, so you can check it out on the chat section. So you can see name is equals to what Henry.
Right.
You must do like this. If not, if you do string name without like the question mark and you just do like name like you're going to assign it later, the data the Flutter framework will flag it as an error because it's by default demands that name has a value. So if you do something like this, that string is going to be having an error, or the name is going to be having an error. So it's just for null safety and all. I don't know if you understand.
So basically, to tell the
Yeah, I do, I
compiler
do.
that it can this variable can be empty, but later it can have a value. That's what
Yes,
I'm
yes.
saying.
So this data can be empty and it can have a value. So you can do string question mark name and Flutter or that will not be angry. It will just tell you that yes, my guy, we are good. But if you do string name without the question mark, Flutter will be angry. That will be angry that why are you doing this? You are supposed to give name a value. Name cannot be empty. So when you have a data type without the question mark, that means there is no point in time in the lifespan of this data type that it is ever going to be null. So it is always going to be having a value. But when you put the question mark, that means this particular data type or this particular variable is always going to be null or will always have a value at a particular time. Do you get?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's why the question
Thank
mark
you.
is there. It's for null aware. You're welcome. Any other questions, guys? I'll be
Thanks.
taking your questions while Mubarak reach out to Kausara. So on the queue, I have Aurelia. Aurelia, what was your question?
Yeah. Instead of for standard input, instead of using the stdin dot readline sync,
Mm.
can we use input bracket just like this thing?
So let me tell you something. You see that standard input. Since we are progressing in Flutter, you will rarely need that method. You will rarely need it. This is just to allow you to have like basic knowledge of that. You will rarely, I mean, like out of 100%, let's say 10%, you will rarely, say if you want to write that, if you want to build a that related program, so you will rarely, given the fact that you are building for mobile, you will rarely need that standard input and all. So you should pay more attention to all of the things she has said before, and so stuff like standard output and standard input, you will rarely need them. Any other questions, guys?
That is not do mobile apps, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
But even do web app and TV apps, will you need them much?
For TV app, like I said the other day, most TV are powered by Android. Most smart TVs are powered by Android. So Android framework is the same thing. Like you're going to use Flutter to build for Android as well. So you will be using some other thing, not standard inputs.
How about for web apps?
For web as well, you'll be using the normal Flutter syntax. I think that syntax, that and Flutter syntax. So you would rarely use standard. You will rarely, like very very rarely use standard input, except if you're building something that is strictly that without the Flutter framework in it.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Any other questions, guys?
I think Kausar is having issue with her network. She's trying to join.
All right. So while she's trying to rejoin, any other questions, guys? Please fill the attendance form, please. Michael, Kachi, let's have your question. Kachi, let's have your question.
I'm sorry, I didn't unmute myself.
Okay.
So you said that though you've already said that we won't be using standard inputs
You really,
often while doing our Flutter project.
yeah,
But I still want to ask,
yeah.
is there a way to use readline sync without the writing the input on the next line? Is there a way to use readline sync without putting the input on the next line? Like it should still be within that same line.
I think there's a way to do that. Mubarak, do you have an idea on that? I think there's a way to do that because it's almost similar to C plus plus, and on C plus plus there's a way to do that. I think there's a way.
I
Mubarak, I don't
didn't,
know.
I didn't get the question. Like,
You see that standard input. You know when you want to take the user's data, it will jump to the
data.
next line. If you want to take the user's input,
Yes.
so it's asking if there's a way you can put it on the same line instead of jumping to the next line.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
The reason why
Because like
we
is that you rarely use
you
those
rarely
things.
you
You rarely
rarely
use
use
the
those
same
things.
much of those things.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. So any other questions, guys? While Kasara is still trying to join. So
I think she's already.
okay, Kasara, the floor is yours. Kasara, go and buy Starlink. Stop using Globe.
I think she has pre-ordered already. So that's it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You are saying you should go and buy Starlink. They say you already pre-ordered Starlink, so
God, I beg. The guy was asking question of if you want to print on same line or something, right?
Yes, I
Hello?
was.
yes.
You can use the difference between print and standard output is print is for the next line, but if it is standard output you can still have it on that same line instead of going to the next line. That's the difference between print and standard output. So you can use standard output instead of like print. You
Right.
get.
Thank you. Yeah, I do. Let me try it.
Alright. I think there's a link to that. Let me show you. Uh, yes, so this is it. Instead of just normal print, you can just use standard output dot write. You get.
I do. Thanks.
Sorry, where were we? Hello.
You will enter the
What
second
happened?
number.
We are building something about a calculator. Person enter the name, and the name will be printed out. Like, welcome to this session.
Oh, okay.
Name.
This is past 6. Alright, I get. So let me just. I want to show this other guy. Can you guys see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right. So I want to show this other guy. Hey, can you see that the other value that I'm printing is on that same line? It's not moving to the next line because I use standard outputs. But if it is for print, you can see that it's moved to the next line. So that's the difference between print and standard output. You get. So like I was saying earlier on, so we have print, then the two numbers. You can just have the two numbers imputed are 5 and 6. You get, so you are able to print out this value, that is this first value here and the other value here. So if you want to do something related to, why is my network breaking? If you want to do something like addition, subtraction, division, and all, so you can also like, you have to just take the input the users like kind of do, then you do your addition or subtraction or division. So I would want to stop here because of time. And if we have any question, so we can just continue in our next class. I think that's where my slides stopped at.
All right, thank
What's
you very
blinking?
much for this session, Kausa. I think we all gain one or two from this, so you can ask your questions now, guys. I, Mubarak, and Kausar will be taking questions. Please don't forget to fill out the attendance. No attendance, no certificates. You know how it goes. Fill out the attendance. So let's have your questions, guys.
Speaking of certificates, how is like the virtual format or hard copy format?
It's definitely going to be virtual now. How can we share hand copy to everybody? It's going to be virtual, so you can print it out yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marvel.
Yeah, go ahead.
This today's class, the recording. Are we going to get to this recording too?
You're going to get to this recording like almost max in 2 hours. The reason why we don't have the recording of introduction is because the account we used to record that session is yet to grant us download access. But this particular time, I am already recording in real time. So after this session, I will begin the process of uploading. So I will send the link to the channel to the group as well. So this session, both from the part where the meeting was cut and to the continuation, you get everything in like 2 hours max. Depends on the upload time. So you can always rewatch. And Kausar will be sending the link to this documentation she is using for the session to the group as well.
Let me just do that now.
All right, she will send it to the group now. So guys, let's take your questions so that all of us can go and rest and relax and watch the result of the election. For those of us that are Nigerians. Sean, let's have a question. Okay, let me open the queue to see how many people we have. Ekimo, what's your question?
I have a question.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry. This when was making use of that no and that use that dollar sign, the command sign, then and that she was trying to use an operator, she wanted to use plus. How will you do it to make the plus, like to add it? Will
Okay.
you make use of those other codes? Like I don't get how to.
Kausara, do you understand what he's saying? For questions that are relating to what she's saying, you can, for things like how did she do the dollar sign plus this thing, you can just like maybe type them out. Then you can say, okay, check the chat section for this. Do you get?
Hmm?
For questions that are related to what you just said now, I'm finding it hard to understand what you're talking about. Can you just like type it out so that we'll get
Can
that?
type.
Yeah, type it out, type it out. So Timilan, go ahead while he's typing his question out.
I should go ahead.
Okay, you don't wanna just
As
ask. Sorry.
I'm just
Alright, sorry. Ikemode, go ahead, ask your question. If you have a question, raise your hand, please. Ikemode, go ahead, ask your question.
Yes, please. I have issue with this. Okay, someone has already answered me
Hmm.
on the chat. Like I need to install Git.
Okay, so any issue
But
pertaining installation and IDE failure, please just refer it to the group. Tag myself, Marvel.dat or Mubarak, Mubad Dev or Kausa.
okay, I'll do that now.
Yeah. Other questions, guys. The floor is open for your questions. Any questions, guys?
I have a question. I'm still typing it.
All right, type it, type it.
This is not related to the course, so, but I wanted to ask.
What's up?
You, Kausa, Marvel, Back. Can you guys like can we say an app you guys have built? Have you like this your app on Play Store? We can see how it is.
Yeah, sure,
That's what
sure.
I'm trying to say.
Mubarak can, if Mubarak
Like I
has,
want, I want to see your works.
yeah, don't worry. If Mubarak has an app on Play Store, he will send you the link. If Kausara have an app on Play Store, she will send the link, and I'll be sending the link to mine as well. So don't worry, we'll
Okay.
post that on the announcement channel.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. The code for today's class, I have published a poll on GitHub, so you can pull from there.
All right,
So I've sent a income message box.
you can go ahead and download the code or pull anyhow you want, or clone, I mean. So anyhow you want to do it. Questions, guys? Don't forget to fill the attendance form.
Yeah, which we are really complete.
Okay, the code for today's session, like all of the code she has written for today's session, you can just go to GitHub and get them. She has dropped the link on the chat section, and she's going to be doing the same for like the WhatsApp channel and the announcement channel.
Yeah, my question is like hosting related. Should I say hosting? It's not a website, but like the way you guys put apps on Play Store.
Yeah.
So for example, we don't get money now to pay that 100K per year. Is there any way to freely like as a beginner to freely showcase your project since you can't put it?
The only way to freely showcase your project is to post the APK on like a drive and send people the link to go and download. But if you want it on App Store or on Play Store, you're definitely going to pay their money. You're going to pay the fee to have an Android account, developer account, or an Apple developer account.
Alright, but Drive works.
Yeah, Drive. You can just upload the app and that works for like only what's it called, for only APKs. That is Android files, but you cannot do the same for iOS. For iOS, you have to have an Apple developer account.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions, guys? Fill out the attendance form. Please don't take the link for that onto the attendance form to the group. We only want people that attended this session to be able to fill the attendance. Go ahead, Timileyin.
Okay. So I've dropped the question already.
Okay, so Kausa uses MacBooks Norm 1 plus Norm 2. Something like this. The operator here would be regarded as a text because of the string. Okay, yes. So a way to solve that is I'm going to be writing it on the chat section. So you can do like this. You can do I'm doing it on the chat section so you can see it too. You put a $sign, then you put a bracket. What's it? I've forgotten the name of this bracket. So you do norm 1
Curly brackets.
it's not okay, maybe it's curly braces. I used to forget the name for these things, but then you do norm 1 plus norm 2. This should do the addition for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, boss. Next questions, guys.
Okay, so that programming language, can't we do it on our Android Studio Code?
You can do it on your Android Studio. You can create a DAT file on your Android Studio and run that DAT file.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You can even easy way out here. You can just go to that pad and run and do whatever you want on that pad. The reason why Kausara is not using that pad today is because she's using Glue, and Glue cannot access stuff like that pad and pub.dev and all of that.
Why using Glue?
And she just announced that her MTN network was having issues, and her Starlink is yet to arrive.
All of it, I think that Glow, is it as per Glow network or just low settings.
No, it depends on. I don't. The thing is network provider related. So all these international website and all of that, because of the kind of image Nigeria poses, some websites blocks out specific IP addresses and all of that. So it's all of those related.
Trying to take up on
You can actually use if you're using glue, it's going to work.
But like, do they block SL?
No, no, no.
No, no,
Sometimes
no,
it
no.
happens. It just sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. You see, most of you that are having that HTTP error something when you run your Flutter doctor, all those things are network provider related. It's not a real issue, it's just network provider related. Any other question relating to that?
Yeah, yeah. Relating to the last question you just answered, but we're still going to work with Android Studio, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, we're definitely working with Android Studio. The reason why you are saying VS Code today is because Kausara was unable to access what's it called, that pad earlier. So going forward, all you'll be seeing is Android Studio.
Hi, sorry, I can't see the attendance link.
All right, please don't take the attendance link to the group. The attendance
Um,
is meant for people that attend this session.
yes, the guy that asked why we just code. I don't like using Android Studio because the stuff is too heavy. So I can always use. You can always use either Android Studio or Visual Studio Code, right? Or you use that part. So either you use Visual Studio Code, Android Studio, or what am I saying? Or that part. Either of the three. So any questions so far?